All right, so I'm not going to act like I'm some kind of fucking encyclopedia and some kind of fucking expert. I'm not. Welcome to the Rick Bork channel, where the beer's always cold, language fucking sucks, my shit's always broken, and your opinion doesn't matter. Borkfest 2022 is July 29th and 30th, so come on over and have a beer and have a good time, and you can regret yourself later. Okay. So I went and refreshed my memory and just kind of fucking brushed up on what I had researched before. So going off the serial number 27961, that puts us at a 1941 model. So they made these things between 39 and 47, if I'm correct. So it's a relatively early H. Obviously it's a 6-volt tractor. It's 14 horsepower on the belt, 12 on the drawbar. I don't know the numbers of how many they made and all that fucking fancy shit, and John Deere experts can take care of that shit. This is a gas start kerosene engine, so it's not a fucking it's not a gas start diesel, but hey, we're right fucking there, okay? A couple of things we're gonna look at on this thing, and this one's pretty fucking tight and right, but a couple of neat features that it does have. It does have hydraulics. It does have a PTO. So the combination of the two was actually pretty rare back in the day, from my understanding, talking to a couple of John Deere folk. A lot of times if you had hydraulics, it was to raise and lift implements, and you didn't have a fucking PTO. Why? Because that shit cost money, and they were extra. So it would be a drawbar tractor that had an implement on it, and that's why you would have these levers here to raise and adjust. Right? Perfect. And you get to raise and adjust simultaneously, independently, etc., etc. So having the PTO is a big deal if you have the hydraulics, because it is a factory hydraulic unit. It's not some cobble fucked extra. And it also has electric start. It's not flywheel start. So, back in the day, you get over here, you grab the flywheel and fucking give her the 1-2 and let her pop. So electric start, hydraulics, and the PTO. Basically the fucking Cadillac of the John Deere H's from the day. I don't think there was any more options. If anybody knows and they're an expert, you fucking tell me. So, this thing, if you weren't on the live stream, she's got fucking new rubber. And I mean new rubber. It's 100%. You can still see a little hit. 100% rubber yet. It's seen maybe, well, enough to park it, but the resto on this has been done. I don't know how many, you never know how many hours are on these because they never had an hour meter on them. You can judge by looking at things like pedals, how much wear is on the pegs. Not a hell of a lot. You can see a little bit here. But is that from manufacturing or not? Hard to say. Transmission is crisp. I don't know that I drove a John Deere B for a long time. I never had a transmission that was that crisp. Clutch, same thing. Look at the amount of play in that lever. That's it. You get a lot of those where they hit the fucking steering wheel half the time. Playing the steering wheel, 0. Gotta imagine that's a new steering wheel. It's got its cracks in it, no doubt, but the nylock nut gives that away that it's new steering wheel. Throttle control, absolutely tight. It's not even, that's not even worn for throttle control. These are so nice and crisp and clean that they've almost never been, you'd almost say that they've never been used. There's almost no, these were never super tight to begin with, but usually from dropping and slamming those in, there's some wear and tear going on there. PTO shield's in good shape. The hole in the drawbar, either this drawbar has been replaced or this thing never pulled anything, because the taper on that thing is perfect. I can't say one way or another. Maybe somebody else can, but that drawbar is in immaculate shape. So it never seen any drawbar time, ever. At least that drawbar didn't. Seat, pretty spiffy. You can loosen that seat up and slide it back and forth. Some other tractors, you had to actually unbolt it and bolt it in a different spot. So that was pretty cool for that era. That was a lot of forward thinking going on there. I don't believe that's factory, but that's okay. Some little safety precautions. She does have the light on the back, lights on the front. So that's pretty neat. It looks like somebody fashioned new lines. And because I don't believe those are going to be correct for, or factory, obviously. And we have a nylon line going up to the oil pressure gauge, which obviously is not from that era. Still has, or somebody else sourced, covers for the spark plugs. Nobody ever put the fucking things back on. Nobody ever put the fucking things back on. I don't know how many tractors I've seen that didn't have those. 6-volt battery, probably going to need to be replaced. Not a huge deal. I tried to throw a charge in it, and it said, you can fuck right off. Battery box is pretty much fucking mint. Somebody actually went through the work of finding correct bolts for this, because usually, based on the length, people use ready bolt because it's what's available. So this thing is pretty fucking mint. Again, front tires, brand new. Absolutely 100%. There's zero wear on these things. The little stickers are on the tread yet. This thing is in amazing condition. It's an 81-year-old tractor, for fuck's sake. 81 years old. Look at it. I mean, once we get her cleaned up, she looks like that. Because my ass rubbed that fucking seat polished just loading on the tractor, or on the trailer, but she's got a little salt debris on her from running up and down from 550 miles on the trailer. So that's going to be my first step, is washing this thing up, get a battery in it. We need to clean out the fuel tanks, and I'll find a light here. Let me find a light and drink a beer, and I'll bring it back. All right, so let's talk about what we're going to do to this tractor. Again, like I said, battery, spark plugs, we're going to check those out. We're going to clean the air filter, because who knows when that's been done. No offense or anything to anyone. I just got to have a baseline here. Fuel system is a little bit rough, and that's okay. It's been sitting a little bit, but you see in there, yeah, she's a little rusty. She's a little crusty inside. So she smells like 20-year-old varnish. The fuel tank, not so bad. Fuel tank is 100% usable. I want to try to get some of that flaky rust and shit out of that kerosene tank, because it's going to make it a hell of a lot easier than having it end up in the fuel system and then dealing with it stuck in the sediment bowl and all that other garbage. So I am open to suggestions. on how we go about doing that, because I'm not a fucking expert. I'll admit it. So if you guys got any ideas, feel free to throw them out there. We're going to take the bowl off. We're going to clean it all out. We're going to look at the carburetor, all that stuff. Upcoming projects, upcoming videos. This is going to be the first one that I try to get running. I know this one is kind of near and dear to Bob's heart, and we're going to change all the other oils and lubricants on it, just so, again, I'm not saying that any of them are bad. I just want to have a baseline so I know exactly what I'm starting with across the board. I have everything here. Well, it's all behind there, but I have all the materials here to make that happen, so that's not a big deal. So we're going to go through everything, and we'll see what happens here. We got a lot of videos to come. Hopefully we can bang that one out relatively quick. First thing is going to be go through and run through it mechanically, and then we'll see. So, if you guys like what I'm doing, throw me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, because, hey, you're going to want to stick around for this fucking John Deere. Green paint is actually on the farm. There's green paint on the farm. Green power on the farm. I've had green paint for a little bit. Implements and whatnot, but this thing's going to be pretty sweet working on the farm. We're going to find some stuff to go behind it, so appreciate y'all. Throw me a thumbs up. Once again, subscribe if you haven't. Ring the bell, get my notifications. Memberships are down there if you want one, and there's going to be some members-only stuff coming. So if you're not a member, take a moment to consider it. It's $5 fucking a month. Shit! You spend that on a coffee. See y'all next time.